It is nothing new, it is as ancient as man. There has never been a time when man was not in search of escape. The most ancient book in the world is the Rig Veda, and it is full of drug use. The name of the drug is soma. Since those ancient times, all the religions have tried to get people not to use drugs. All the governments have been against drugs, yet drugs have proved more powerful than governments or religions because nobody has looked into the very psychology of the drug user. Man is miserable. He lives in anxiety, anguish, and frustration. There seems to be no way out except drugs. The only way to prevent the use of drugs will be to make people joyful, happy, blissful. I am also against drugs for the simple reason that they help you to forget your misery for a time. They do not prepare you to fight misery and suffering. Rather, they weaken you. But the reasons of religions and governments for being against drugs and my reasons for being against drugs are totally different. They want people to remain miserable and frustrated because those who are in suffering are never rebellious. They are tortured in their own being. They are falling apart. They cannot conceive of a better society, of a better culture, of a better human being. Because of this misery, anybody can become an easy victim of the priests because they will console him. They say to him, "Blessed are the poor, blessed are the meek, blessed are those who suffer, because they shall inherit the kingdom of God." The suffering humanity is also in the hands of the politicians because the suffering humanity needs some hope. The hope of a classless society somewhere in the future. The hope of a society where there will be no poverty, no hunger, no misery. In short, people can manage and be patient with their sufferings if they have a utopia just on the horizon. And you must note the meaning of the word utopia. It means that which never happens. It is just like the horizon. It is so close that you think you can run and meet the place where earth and sky meet. But you can go on running your whole life and never meet the place because there is no such place. It is a hallucination. The politician lives on promises. The priest lives on promises. In the last 10,000 years, nobody has delivered the goods. Their reason for being against drugs is that drugs destroy their whole business. If people start taking opium hashish, LSD, they won't care about communism and they won't care about what is going to happen tomorrow. They won't care about life after death. They won't care about God, paradise. They will be fulfilled in the moment. Here my reasons are different. I am also against drugs, not because they cut the roots of the religions and the politicians, but because they destroy your inner growth towards spirituality. They prevent you from reaching the promised land. You remain hanging around the hallucinations while you are capable of reaching the real. They give you a toy. But since drugs are not going to disappear, I would like every government, every scientific lab to purify drugs, to make them healthier without any side effects, which is possible now. We can create a drug like the one Aldous Huxley in memory of the Rig Veda called Soma, which will be without any bad effects, which will not be addictive, which will be a joy, a happiness, a dance, a song. If we cannot make it possible for everybody to become a Gautam Buddha, we have no right to prevent people from at least having illusory glimpses of the aesthetic state that Gautam Buddha must have had. Perhaps these small experiences will lead the person to explore more. Sooner or later, he is going to be fed up with the drug because it will go on repeating the same scene again and again. However beautiful a scene is, repetition makes it boring. So first, purify the drug from all bad effects. Second, let people who want to enjoy. They will become bored by it. And then their only path will be to seek some method of meditation to find the ultimate bliss. The question is basically concerned with younger people. The generation gap is the world's very latest phenomenon. It never used to exist. In the past, children of 6 and 7 started using their hands, their minds, with their fathers in their traditional profession. By the time they were 14, they were already craftsmen, workers. They were married, they had responsibilities. By the time they were 20 or 24, they had their own children, so there was never a gap between the generations. Each generation overlapped the other generation. For the first time in the history of humanity, the generation gap has appeared. It is of tremendous importance. Now, for the first time, up to the age of 25 or 26 when you come back from the university, you have no responsibility, no children, no worries, and you have the whole world before you to dream about. How to better it, how to make it richer, how to create a race of geniuses. These are the years between 14 and 24 when one is a dreamer. because sexuality is maturing, and with sexuality dreams are maturing. Once sexuality is repressed by the schools and colleges, so the young person's whole energy is available to dream. He becomes a communist, he becomes a socialist, he becomes a Fabian, all sorts of things. And this is the time when he starts feeling frustrated because of the way the world works. The bureaucracy, the government, the politicians, the society, the religion. It does not seem that he will be able to make his dreams a reality. He comes home from the university full of ideas, and every idea is going to be crushed by the society. Soon he forgets about the new human being and the new age. He cannot even find employment. He cannot feed himself. How can he think about a classless society where there will be no rich and no poor? It is this moment when he turns toward drugs. They give him temporary relief, but soon he finds that he has to go on increasing the dose. And as drugs are now, they are destructive to the body, to the brain, so he is absolutely helpless. He cannot live without drugs, and with drugs there is no space in life for him. But I don't say that the younger people are responsible for it, and to punish them and put them in jail is sheer stupidity. They are not criminals, they're victims. My idea is that education should be divided into two parts, one intellectual and the other practical. From the very beginning, a child enters school not just to learn the 3 R's, but also to learn to create something, some craft, some skill. Half of the time should be given to his intellectual pursuits, and half of the time should be given to life's real necessities. That will keep the balance. And by the time he comes out of the university, he will not be a utopian, and he will not be in need of employment by others. He will be able to create things on his own. And for students who feel any kind of frustration, from the very beginning things should be changed. If they are frustrated, perhaps they are not studying the right things. Perhaps they want to become a carpenter and you are making them a doctor. They want to become a gardener and you are making them an engineer. Great psychological understanding will be needed so that each child is sent in the direction where he will learn something. And in every school, every college, every university, at least 1 hour of meditation for everybody must be compulsory, so that whenever he feels frustrated or depressed, he has a space within himself that he can move to and immediately get rid of all the depression and frustration. He need not turn to drugs. Meditation is the answer. But rather than doing all these things, the people who are in power go on doing idiotic things, prohibition, punishment. They know that for 10,000 years we have been prohibiting and we have not succeeded. If you prohibit alcohol, more people become alcoholics and a dangerous kind of alcohol becomes available. Thousands of people die by poisoning, and who is responsible? Now they are punishing young people for years in jail without even understanding that if a person has taken a drug or has been addicted to a drug, he needs treatment, not punishment. He should be sent to a place where he can be taken care of, where he can be taught meditation, and slowly can be directed away from the drugs towards something better. Instead, they are forcing them into jails, years in jail. They don't value human life at all. If you give 10 years in jail to a young man of 20, you have wasted his most precious time, and without any benefit, because in jail every drug is more easily available than anywhere else. The inmates are all highly skilled drug users who become teachers for those who are amateurs. After 10 years, the person will come out perfectly trained. Your jails teach only one thing. Anything you do is not wrong unless you are caught. Just don't be caught. And there are masters who can teach you how not to be caught again. So this whole thing is absolutely absurd. In fact, before you have dropped your own problems, you cannot have the right perspective to understand the world's problems. Your own home is in such a mess, your own inner being is in such a mess. How can you have the perspective to understand vast problems? You have not even understood yourself. Start from there, because every other start will be a wrong start. People who are in a tremendously confused state of mind start helping others and start proposing solutions. These people have created more troubles in the world than they have solved. These are the real mischief makers. The politicians, the economists, the so-called public servants, missionaries. These are the real mischief makers. They have not solved their own inner consciousness yet, and they are ready to jump on everybody else and solve everybody else's problems. In fact, in this way, they are avoiding their own reality. They don't want to face it. They want to remain engaged somewhere else with somebody else. This gives them something to do. It is a good distraction. Remember, you are the world problem. You are the problem, and unless you are solved, whatever you do is going to make things more complicated. First, put your own house in order. Create a cosmos there. It is a chaos. As you are now, you cannot see the root of a problem. You see only the symptom. First, find out within yourself where the root is and try hard to change that root. Poverty is not the root. Greed is the root. Poverty is the outcome. You go on fighting with poverty and nothing will happen. Greed is the root. The greed has to be uprooted. War is not the problem. Individual aggressiveness is the problem. War is just the sum total of individual aggression. You go on making protest marches and war is not going to be stopped. There are a few people who enjoy the fun. You can find them in any protest march.